What's up, everybody? It's Chris with Dugout Mugs. We got a couple of our friends hopping on, so let me go ahead and connect all these lives so that they're able to get in. All right, we are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. All right, my guy Ronnie just got here. So what? Just a real quick recap, so you know what we're doing. Cheers to charity. Quarterly we pick an awesome group. We celebrate and serve the heroes of the baseball community. That's what we do. And my guy Ronnie has R2 Cares, and we're collaborating with them this month and talking about mental health awareness, mental health fitness. Ronnie's one of the coaches in the Rays organization, so he deals with a ton of players, and they have some real problems too. And Ronnie asked if we wanted to jump on and chat with some of the players if they had some thoughts to share on this stuff. And I said, heck yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to bring Ronnie on now, and then we'll see who he can who he brings on, and we can just have a conversation. So what's up, Ronnie? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? How's everything going?
Oh man, did you catch a thing with Josie this morning?
Yeah, I was able to catch it right before we went on the field.
Cool.
To play at 11 o'clock. We had a kids' day game going on today.
Nice. Awesome, dude. Well, did y'all win?
Yeah, we ended
All
up
right.
winning.
All right. I'm a Rays guy. Come on.
Yep.
Represent, baby.
That's what we do.
All right. Well, you got a couple of guys popping in. Let's just let them in. Let's just have a combo. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna let you enter these guys because you know them obviously well better than I do.
Okay, awesome. I want to make sure we go live.
Braden, what's up, dude?
How's it going?
What up? How we doing?
It's going, man. Hunter, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? So basically, what we wanted to do is kind of just talk about some of the stuff that we've been talking about all month long, mental health awareness. I know, Hunter, we had some really good conversations about some of the stuff, and then Braden, we talk on the daily. We just want to say thank you guys for also taking the time out of your day to join us, for one, and then for two, the second part of that is thank you for coming on here to share your story a little bit, right? So this is my guy Chris with Dugout Mugs. He's the owner.
What's happening, man? Hunter's having some connectivity, but it's all good. What's up, Braden? Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, you know Dugout Mugs?
Yeah, I've been loving them.
There you go. We got one for you. You get it already?
I did. Yeah, thank you very much. It's awesome.
Absolutely, dude. My pleasure. And you know what we're doing with Ronnie? Obviously, mental health awareness. Like, I own several companies. I'm married, got kids. Like, I got my own stresses, right? And it's different than what y'all are dealing with. And we have, we're very blessed. We have a few million followers online. We got millions of customers. And I'm taking this month to share my platform with people that want to like have a conversation, right? Yeah. And let people know that, you know, what goes on behind the scenes, how you deal with it, you know. And Ronnie's like, dude, I think that's a great idea. So here we are.
Yeah, love that. Love it.
So I'll let Ronnie, you jump in, man. You tell me about the conversations that are going on behind the scenes, because all we see is the pretty shit happening on the field.
Yeah, so it's just, like all we do is for me personally, I believe in this work. If the guys aren't mental is not right, they won't be able to perform on the field. And sometimes guys start to second guess themselves. So for me personally, I just want to make sure mentally they're strong, and their talent is there. Like, we have really good ball players. Like, talent is unbelievable within the Rays organization. But for me, like I said, it's just very important just to have these self-talk conversations with our guys. So we just want to make sure they're right mentally. So, Brad, if you want to talk about that and tell us some of the things that you've gone through, or how important is self-talk for one.
No doubt. I mean, it all kind of started, once I got to college, because in high school, you just go out there and you let your talent work, right? I mean, you don't have to really work on the mental side of the game. But once you start moving up in this game, it becomes a lot harder, because you start playing more, you start playing against better competition, and so, like you said, the talent's going to be there, but your biggest separator is how well you can handle the adversity, how well you can handle the failure, because everyone knows this game is a game of failure. So if you know that you're going to go out there and fail 7 times out of 10, it's obviously not going to be the most appealing thing to do, but knowing that that's going to happen, you got to make sure you do everything that you can to put yourself in the best position. And that's just making sure you're training your mental on a daily, making sure you're getting yourself in the right mindset, because once the game starts, it's literally 90% mental, because you're going to go out there and just react to the game, and whatever the game throws at you, you got to be prepared to, kind of respond to that.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do you do? I mean, like obviously one of the big mainstream things it was with Jaron recently with what he did with Clubhouse and everything. Well, and Hunter's back in, so I'm gonna add him. What's up, man? Oh wait, he's on mute. I got you. You're back. You're back.
I'm back.
And this Hunter Stovall, by the way.
Yes.
So yeah, share some of this stuff, because like here's the thing: is I got a lot of coaches, I got a lot of players, I got a lot of baseball moms out there. As a parent, I think that one of the biggest things we can do is like bring awareness to like what people are actually dealing with and what things you could recognize, because sometimes when it's too late, it's too late,
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think, just like I said before, like, putting yourself in the best possible position to succeed is not only the physical part, but like I said, it's that mental part. I know Ronnie talked about that self-talk. I've noticed personally, just this year, kind of being external with my positive self-talk, because when you're going good, you don't really need that external voice telling yourself like, I'm the man. I got the best swing. I got all this and that, right? You just believe it. You walk the walk. You believe in yourself. But when things are going not the way you want it to, when you vocalize it, I've noticed that, just actually hearing myself say it makes me believe it even more. So it's always just making sure you reinforce yourself with that positive self-talk, and I felt like that's helped me tremendously already, just even this year. I'll let
Yeah,
Hunter talk about that too. Yeah.
what I love, one of the things I love the most, it was pretty transformational, because I've done some things in my world, right? And it was, I don't have to do this, I get to do this. That was a little one. That was one of these little ones for me, that like I wake up, bitching, I got to do this and I got to do that. It's like, no, bro, you get to do this and you get to do that. And and the other one that was right up there was every night before I go to bed, I'm grateful. I say thank you for minimum 20 things. And it can be the dumbest stuff. Like, thanks for my dog still being alive. Like, just crazy. But what it was doing is that out loud mental talk, like what you're talking about, it puts you in like this habit of positivity and prosperity. And then it's funny how those things just start to like transcend into your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a thing that I would say on top of all that is a thing that's helped me throughout my whole career was taking baseball and realizing that it did not define me as a person. And then when that happened, it opened up to a lot of more. Like I was able to be thankful for a lot more. And when I started being thankful for a lot more, it took all the weight and the burden of the game, not really a burden, but just the weight of the game off of my shoulders a little bit, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, I just started being thankful for being able to be out there. I see kids in the stands that maybe don't have the ability that I have, and I just am thankful that I have the ability to be out here and all that stuff. And it just kind of made the mental side of the heaviness of playing the sport or whatever else was going on kind of go away when I'm a little bit more thankful about everything around me.
We touched on that this morning. I'm gonna play around with this format too to see what it does, if it puts us in different positions. Nah, this is weird.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it ain't working. Whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We touched on that this morning, actually, when Josie was on here. It's the separation between what I do and who I am, because I work with a lot of military and veterans and guys in transition from military. And that's a tough one for them, separating who I was as a soldier to who I am as a man or a woman and getting back into civilian life. And it's similar with athletes, because you started this game when you were little, I'd bet, right? Yeah. And it's who you've been this whole time. So trying to separate those two things to keep your sanity, pretty crucial.
And it's definitely it's come a long way for me too, because I'm married. I have a 2-year-old little girl. So I have to be better, because I can't take all my mental stresses and my anger with the game. I can't take that home and take it out on my wife or take it out on my little girl. So I've had to figure out how to separate those two.
Yeah.
And it's actually helped me. It's helped me being able to come home and see them, and then it just kind of all that stuff kind of goes away.
That changes a lot of people in a lot of ways.
It does.
Ronnie, your guy Antoine just popped in. You want to let him in here?
We'll join him after we get done with these guys, and then go from there.
All right, sounds good. Let me see, Antoine. I'm about to bring you on, man. Hang on a second. I want to see how it lays on the screen. See if it. That's a little better. Starting to fill out a screen. Having a party now.
Yeah, man. I was trying to get Braden a treat and bring in my boy Austin Davis, but he's on his way to the field. I know that would have made your face light up.
Yeah, it would have. Old AD.
Well, hey, if at any point you guys got to bounce, I get it. But like I said, we're just, what I got a lot of people that watch what we do. We've been doing it for a minute. And I remember probably about 2 years ago, I did a podcast and I told a story about when I almost died and what that did for me coming out the other side of that. And a dude called me or he hit me on LinkedIn about 3 weeks later, said I saved his life. And because of my story. So I'm always a big fan of just constantly keep talking and sharing stories and being honest and being transparent, because you never know who's listening. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing with this stuff. And I'm gonna be doing it all month with Ronnie. So I appreciate for those just hopping on. That's what we're up to right now. Just awesome. Hanging out, talking about the game a little bit, and then some of the pressures that come along with it.
Yeah. That was something. Well, we're getting into story time. I'll just go ahead and open up the can of worms. I went through something this off season that we're talking about mental health. So I was the guy that before I experienced what I experienced, I didn't believe in all that. I was like, "What? You got anxiety? I mean, what is that, bro? Like, take a deep breath, relax." So I don't know. I think it was all the pressures of I've always had certainties in my life. I've always had baseball. I've always had somewhere to play. I've always had this and that. And I go through free agency, and maybe that certainty was kind of not there as much. And I started getting. Now I had some stuff going on. I had to get my gallbladder removed this off season. I had all that stuff going on. I at the time was in the middle of quitting tobacco and all that stuff, so it my body was in a blender a little bit. But I think it was the being unsure that got me to a point where I think I started having anxiety real bad, panic attacks. I don't know what it was, but I've never experienced anything like it in my life, and I wouldn't wish that upon nobody, because that is absolutely miserable. I'd go 2-3 days without sleeping a wink. Finally, I wouldn't talk to nobody about it. And that was the thing that I think ate me up and made it 10 times worse. Was I've always thought of myself as like, I'm mentally tough. I've got this. I don't need to talk about any of my problems. I can handle them. And then it comes along, and I just once I finally started opening up about it, I told my wife. She didn't know what was going on. She'd wake up every morning. I wasn't in there in the bedroom. I was on the couch or somewhere, and she finally was like, "Yo, what's going on with me?" I was like, "Baby, I ain't slept in 2 days." I said, I don't know what's going on. I'd be laying there on the couch or at night trying to go to sleep. Brain's going a million miles an hour. Felt like I'm having freaking heart attacks at some points. Like it was incredible, the stuff, all the symptoms I was going through. And finally, I had to start talking about it. I had an absolute breakdown, crying, all this stuff. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. All that stuff kind of happened. And finally, I went to my cousin. My cousin's been through a lot. He wasn't able to be on here with us right now, but he's lost his older brother. Walked in, found him overdosed on heroin, and lost his dad, my uncle, about a month and a half ago. And he was drafted he was a first round supplemental pick to the Braves in 2008. He's been through baseball, he's been through football, and he's I had to go to him, and he's real big in his faith, and he kind of set me back on the right trail. I was able to talk to him. You talk about having a safe place to go, having a safe place for like people to talk to that you trust and everything. And he was one of mine. And it just kind of, I think if you're going through anything like that, it's so much better to get it off your chest and sit there and hold on to it, because it's so hard to, you think you can beat it by yourself, but it's tough. Not saying that you can't.
It sounds so cliche though. It's like, oh, go talk to somebody. You're like, yeah, all right. But sometimes it's that basic, dude. It's taken like 5 men sitting here having a conversation, right? All badass at something.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's a level, and it's like it's a pride thing. I think that's really crazy. It took me 2 years to get past like talking about what I went through.
Yeah.
It was tough. But like literally it was as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's I can kind of relate that, I guess, you know, to the baseball side of things of like when we go through struggles, you know, like you believe in yourself so much that you believe that you should be having the success even when you're not. So you kind of get all balled up and you want to be secluded. You don't want to like talk to anybody about it because you know that you can come out of it. You know you can be better. But when you really lean on your teammates that are going through the exact same thing that you're going through and kind of just like look for help with from them, you know, just from like a mentality standpoint, you know, just it's as simple as being like, all right, come on, man, here we go, let's go get after it, you know, kind of focus on turning the page just with base in the baseball world. That really helps me because then it gets my focus off of my immediate, you know, problems, and now focusing on, you know, the team, focusing on what we got to go out there and do, you know.
Ronnie, you may deal with it. Is it pretty? I wouldn't call it easy, but I mean, how do you spot that in like? Because I mean, we're like I said, we're a lot of different levels of people that are going to be watching this eventually. How do you identify a problem with somebody else? One of the things we touched on with Josie this morning is like she said, sometimes irritability is a sign of depression that you didn't know about. You just think they're being, you know, an ass, and you don't realize that actually that's one of the telltale signs of depression. So going up to that person and like, hey man, can I share with you something I'm dealing with? Right. Almost to take the wall down to let them respond with whatever they got going on too, you know?
I love that you asked that, but for me personally, baseball is secondary, right? I want to provide a space that they know that they can come to me, and it's more about their mental and how they feel. Talent wise, we're really good. I played, so I understand. Once you get to a certain level, it's not about the skills anymore. It's about who can make adjustments the fastest, right? And also who can overcome the adversity. When you're struggling, sometimes you feel like you're alone. And I knew for me, a lot of times the unknown is what put me in the bad spot. So I always try to promote and tell these guys, man, like ask the questions. If you don't want to know about playing time, go ask. The unknown will send you to a place that you potentially can't come back from, right? And then the next phase of that is this game is hard in itself. It's going to beat you up. So if you're battling on the field, then at home, you don't have a support system at home, which your wife, your kids, right? You got to learn to separate it, because if you don't separate it, then it pours into them, and then it could lead to divorce. It could lead to your kids not wanting to be around you. It could lead to a lot of bad things, and then that's when everything starts spiraling. So for me, it's bigger than baseball. This is bigger than sports. So what I'm doing here is bigger than sports. So that's why R2 Cares was formed, man, because I went through it myself.
Well, and that's why I jumped. That's why, and I don't know if y'all know, but I talked to Ronnie. I'm from Lakeland. I'm from Polk County. So I told him, I said, you know what, I'll probably take an advisory role with R2 Cares as well, because sharing my platform and my background and what I can do and scale, I actually like the message so much that I'm going to get involved in it long term. This isn't just kind of for the month, right? People have problems well beyond this month. And our mission for the company, my company, is to celebrate and serve heroes of baseball, right? And I don't think we can do that any better than, you know, starting from the ground up, man. Some of these little kids are dealing with it. You know, I've got little kids. I got a 10 and a 5, bro. Like the stress that these kids are dealing with. They're girls, so they don't play baseball, but man, dude, it's next level compared to when I was young, all those several decades ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, man. But like again, like I said, it's bigger than ball. It's getting people to be comfortable with sharing their story, because I believe their testimony is worth being told, and people need to hear it, because we can save people by just letting them know that they're not alone, right? I know I talk to Braden all the time. He has a buddy by the name of Austin Davis. Should he be in professional baseball? Sure, of course, in my opinion, and his as well. He's a really good ball player, but he just didn't get blessed with the opportunity to sign with the affiliated team, right? He is playing professional ball, but he's just taking a different journey. And I always tell people as well, like, you just got to take the journey. Let him guide you to where you're supposed to be. Trust the man upstairs, and then just take the journey, because not everybody's going to go down the same path. It's going to lead you to where you're supposed to be, but you just got to embrace it. A saying that I used to say all the time as well is embrace the suck. When you're not playing well, embrace it, like,
Oh yeah.
and then that's how we overcome it, right? So
Yeah, I can resonate with you're talking about, Hunter, too, is, like I said, with kids myself, how many times, because I got to deal with different pressures, but like how many times those pressures came home and it just started a shitstorm of chaos that I couldn't get out of for weeks. And it's like, bro, like, and that because I couldn't separate what I was doing and who I was, those things, it got ugly, and it's like, so that's so important. Well, a lot of the guys are younger, so but I mean, I'd say what, half the players or a third of the players got families already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's one
yeah,
thing, like that's the big thing when I go home is I try to realize that they have really no idea what's going on. Like my wife kind of does. She thinks she does, but she doesn't really.
right.
So they have no idea what all that's about. So I try not to take my feelings and everything home with me because I mean there ain't
That's
no
hard,
reason to try to take it out on them
bro.
when
That's
they don't
hard.
understand. Yeah, it is hard, but I try to make it a point of mine because there's so much other things to
hey, I
worry
see.
about. They don't.
Yeah,
Sorry, I see AD in here watching it, man. I have to give him a shout out.
What up, AD? But no, kind of going over what you're talking about, Hunter, is it's kind of like making sure you shower well.
yeah,
Having a association with getting away from the field. So like you can do whatever you want to do at the field, in the locker room. Make sure like personally, I get my journaling in before I go shower. I just write everything down about the game, get all my thoughts out, and then once I hit the showers, that's my cue to be like, all right, I'm changing from baseball player to me, to who I am. So
Mhm.
going
how
outside
does
of the
that
field,
journaling work? Do you like that?
I enjoy it. You know,
I've heard a lot of
it
people
does.
talk about that.
I don't do anything too specific. There's times where I just like I write just about an at bat or a mental cue that I had during the game. That I like to write stuff down so that I remember it. Because there's a lot of times
Uh-huh.
where I'll have a really good thought and I'm like, ooh, like I want to remember this. So actually writing it down and seeing a physical form of that, that really helps me, because then I'll just be scrolling through pages, and one day it'll help me, one day it might not, so
Yeah,
it's just giving myself that opportunity, that so I have that in the future.
an old business partner of mine, Randall, actually the guy that invented the bat mug. He used to do the journaling, and you know, he reflected a lot like that. Said a lot of good things about
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
I,
that's
I
awesome.
would I would try to do it a lot more, but I can't read what I write half the time. So
it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we want to go ahead and shift it. Twan, are you still in here? Is Twan still in here?
I see a little box, but I don't see him in it. So
All right. Well, wanted to get him to give us his take as well.
there he is. Hold
Um,
on. There he is. He's back.
Yo,
yeah.
yeah,
So
it's like
Twan's actually
it
came
keeps
to
kicking
the
me out.
event
That's
in
what I'm saying.
November.
You're
He
here. You're here now, though.
Okay, okay.
former ball player himself. He was at the event in November with the mental health certification course.
Okay, cool.
He actually got certified through our event. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about it, Twan.
Nah, man, it was an amazing thing. First of all, I want to say, hello to all of you guys, but it feels amazing knowing that you're not alone. Like, to hear people talking about this stuff is it's pretty cool, because we as men don't get the opportunity to just open up and talk about this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I'm Antoine Brown. I play baseball, but like, the guy that had the dream, things didn't go the way that I thought it was supposed to go. but I just realized, that I was out of order, with my life, where baseball was my identity and everybody was telling me that I was going to make it, but I didn't have no idea how to make it, and then when I didn't make it, nobody was there to check on me to see what was going on with me. So, I created my brand called Married to the Game, a love-hate relationship, spreading the knowledge of how the same game I grew to love, I grew to hate, and it was a part of my life, loved it. But nobody really taught me the steps it took to do what it was that I was actually chasing. Grew up loving God, grew up as a Christian and that kind of stuff, but I was believing in God for what I wanted and not necessarily for what He wanted for my life. So it was one of those things where, I had the ability, I had the talent, but I didn't have the mental aspect of the game to make it. That's the only thing that really truly separated me from other people, was I didn't have the mental capacity to push forward because I didn't understand a lot of stuff. So, joining on with Ronnie, when he called me, I was like, bro, I'm all for it. Like, I'm here sharing my testimony too, because I've gone through a lot of stuff, man. Like, I don't even supposed to be here. So I told, when I say here, I'm supposed to be dead and gone. Like, it's been times where I've had appendicitis. I had gotten a head-on car collision. I've been divorced. My son got autism. I have so many things that's really say I was supposed to stop, but I know God gave me a bigger purpose. So when Ronnie said he's coming in about the mental health, I was head over heels, and it's an honor. I'm privileged and an honor, and I'm ready to go because I'm unapologetic about the journey. Everybody can talk about they had a chance, and I got proof I had a chance, but it wasn't meant for me to do that.
It wasn't your purpose. You
It
found
wasn't
your
my
Your
purpose.
purpose. That's
well,
that's a
well, I
better
say
way to put it. Yeah.
baseball is my platform. It's actually my practice. It was equipping me for what I needed to actually perform in. So now I understand that even with coaching and that kind of thing, it's more so baseball is just my platform. It's not who I am anymore, and I had to learn that.
Yeah.
And I know everybody has to go through that stage of like, who are you? Because that's how people look at us as baseball players.
Yeah. That's great, dude. Yeah, you gotta have some if you're not in the right mental place, you can't deal with all that.
No,
That would
no.
shut you down quick.
Hey, tell me about it.
Yeah.
It shut me down quick. And the thing was, I never knew who I could go and talk to, because in my area, I'm from a small town, Bradford County. We had a few people that played pro ball and did stuff for pro ball, but they never came back to pour into me. They never taught me how to handle any of that kind of stuff, but everybody was blowing the smoke up my behind. And I was a starting quarterback, the starting shooting guard, and basketball player. So as you can imagine, I've had smoke blown up my behind since I had two legs.
That's funny.
So,
Oh
but
man.
yeah, I'm happy to be a part of this, man. Like Ronnie, he's doing a great thing, man, and I'm blessed to be a part of it, because I can feel safe to share my story. Sometimes it's gonna hurt me, but I'm getting
Yeah.
better. I'm getting better at letting it out, because some kid needs it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know who's listening, man. We do so my sport is business. And every quarter, now I do it every single quarter. I fly to Dallas for 4 days for the same thing, to talk with like 100 other CEOs that are just dealing with it. So it doesn't
Yeah,
matter what vertical we're living in. Y'all are the best of the best in baseball, right? These people are the best of the best in business. So they, like you said, like you almost have to form these tight communities within your space to just bounce stuff off of each other, or else you go crazy.
yes, sir.
And I think that's what you're doing, Ronnie, right? I mean,
Yeah, for
that's a
sure.
big piece of R2 Cares with like leadership and all that.
We're taking the game that we all have in common and impacting so many others through, our journeys and kind of our trials and tribulations of what we went through.
Yeah.
A lot of kids don't ever get to this point, right? And sometimes they phase out by not having the support that they need. You know what I mean? So if we can be their safe space, because also R2 Cares provides resources, not just resources, but we fund free camps, right? We do free camps, and from those free camps, what we do is we try to talk about authentic leadership, um, resiliency, right? But we want to make sure that if we identify these kids, we put them paired with our people from our network that can help guide them in the right direction from a mentorship program. And then we tie in our local coaches. From our local coaches, what we do is, oh, you're preaching the right messages. We know you're in it for the right reasons. We will then pay for those kids to go to these trainings with these coaches, as long as they go through our program to talk about our mental, right?
But it's multiple like verticals of
Oh
health,
yeah,
right? Mental health, faith is massive.
yep.
Um, you know, mental, physical, financial health.
Oh yeah,
How depressed you going to get when you put millions in the bank and then 2 years later you're in debt? That's a whole different level of pressure there.
yeah, man. That's something that when you said millions, you lost me. I never had that yet.
It comes with pressure.
Soon though, right? Soon.
But yeah, I mean, all the different verticals of mental health. And this morning we were talking where it's like you want to focus on your physical health. I was a certified trainer. I used to open gyms a million years ago, and like it was physical health and spiritual health. Everybody cheers you on, but you start talking about mental health. They that's like so many negative connotations associated with that. It's like, dude, what do you? It's so crazy. When we were having lunch the other day, remember we were talking about that?
Yep.
It was crazy.
Sure.
Everything's so positive. Oh, look at you doing good for yourself, and it's like so many kind of prep. I can't think of the word, not preparation, but like precautionary things you could be doing for your mental health, and people are looking at it with like a stigma. It's weird, man.
Yeah, it
Well,
is
I
weird.
just think today in today's society, everybody's so self-centered nowadays. I mean, nobody really cares about anybody unless you're, of course, close with people. But
Yeah,
I just feel like the older I've gotten, and I'm a lot older than Braden, um, but it's I just feel like people don't care about people as much anymore. Like people
yeah.
used to take the time and like check on somebody. You see somebody's down, or you go there and say like, "Yo, bro, what's up? What you got going on now?" That stuff rarely happens, and I don't know. I don't know if it's because of not caring or if they're. I don't know. I've seen
Social
that
media
kind of
is not
trend.
helping
That's
as
not
we
at
sit here
all.
on social media, but
Yeah,
social media in a lot of ways ain't helping.
yeah,
The facade that everybody's got to put up, it's kind of crazy.
yeah,
Well, I think just reminding folks, we talked this morning, Josie Nicholson, I think last name
Yeah,
Nicholson. We were
Josie.
on this morning chatting a bit. And one of the things we talked, like simple action items, just like text 5 people. I legit got off and did it's just a reminder, right? And you do it enough times, the repetition, just like, dude, just like the mechanics and of baseball, the basics, right? It's just repetition. So you're gonna just in the habit, like I said, of being grateful at night, being grateful in the morning, whatever it is. Catch a green light, thank you, right? Just this, whatever it is. So I got off and I texted a guy who's just lost his wife. It's a colleague of mine, and it's just say, hey, dude, just thinking about you. I know you're going through some stuff. Call me if you need me. Like as simple as that was, it took me 10 seconds. And I think that right there might start, Hunter, what you're talking about, that might start the domino effect in the other direction. It's just
yeah,
people making a damn effort.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is like you talk about how simple it is, and that's the biggest thing. Some of the most simple things I've ever done has had some of the biggest impacts on people.
Yeah.
So like you never know when you could have that, when you could just go up and check on somebody and it mean the world to them or make their day better. You never know.
Well, in that case, and every single person that's watching this, either now or in a couple hours when we repost, whatever it is, or next week, text somebody. Text like 3 of them. Say something cool.
Yep.
Start there.
Don't
That's
forget
awesome.
about the people that's closest to you, right? Because
Correct.
sometimes even the people that you work with on the daily,
Bro, they could be in the other room.
yeah, the janitor, right? The security guard at the
Yeah.
front of the stadiums when you walk in. By you stopping your feet, stop your feet, not just saying, "Hey, man, how's it going?" Good. No, stop your feet. Hey, how are you doing today? Oh, and remembering their name. That makes people feel good, right? That helps to brighten up their day.
Yeah.
And I have to keep going back to this, but this is how this all came about. When I was going through it personally 2 years ago, I went through the mental health certification aid training during spring training. And as I'm sitting in that room, I'm sitting with coworkers that I've known for 3, 4, 5 years. And then they put us in this vulnerable state. And as I look around, I can see that it's something deeper that they were going through. And I got disappointed in myself because I like to say I'm a people person. I like to say I like to talk to everyone. I like to, build those relationships. And I didn't know what they were going through. And I was like, man, we have to start asking better questions. And it started with just the people around me. And then next thing you know, R2 Cares is formed, which this is work we've been doing. Every off season, I go home, I do lessons, I do camps. I have a problem charging people. They're free camps, and we bring out people like Chris Sale. I mean, Chris Sale comes out to our events every year. This dude was the comeback player of the year last year?
Last year, yeah, I think so.
And we put him in front of these kids because he loves doing it. It's a good buddy of mine. And when we asked him to sign those cards that we're going to be giving away for Cheers to Charity, we had a conversation. And you know what he told me? This is the first time in my career that I don't have a guarantee for next year. He goes, this is really weird. This guy's played over 10 years in the big leagues. And this is what he's saying. He's like, man, I had this conversation with my wife. He goes, so I love what you're doing, and anything you need, I'm in. Think about that.
Yeah. Well, the game will humble you. Life will humble you.
Ain't no doubt about that.
Right?
Hey, well, I know Braden.
Antoine was talking about appendicitis. What actually almost got me.
Yeah.
I ruptured my appendix, and I was so busy. I had the Stanley Cup the next day. I had borrowed my friend's Ferrari. I had all this crazy stuff going on in my life, and it was so much more important than my health. And then literally, I had a 30% chance of dying 3 days later. And bro, you want to talk about ground you real quick.
Shoot, I can tell you mine ruptured. I was actually in Jacksonville at a football game. And my stubbornness, I was in the car and I was like, hey, I'm just feeling bad. I started throwing up. We drove all the way from Jacksonville. My stubbornness, I'm like, I'm throwing up the whole car ride. But I'm like, I'm going to just go home. Like the athlete came out. I'm going to just go home and rest.
Tough it out.
I'm going to just rest. It's just a stomach hurting. That doctor told me if I waited 5 more minutes, I would have been out of here.
I waited 7 days.
Yeah.
You want to talk about faith? I waited 7 days. And when they went in, they said, this is divine intervention I've never seen. I had an abscess the size of a football in my core. God stepped in, bro. Built a wall around it, period.
I tell people all the time when I went
7
in there,
days.
I said it had to be God. Yeah, I said he told me 5 more minutes, and it would have probably been a whole different story if I hadn't came in. Because I really was about to just rest it. I was going to go to bed. Like, I'm like, I'm going to just – but I could not sleep. And then at the time I was still married, and my wife like, no, you got to go to the hospital. Like, I've never seen you act like this. And the doctor said, soon I walked in,
get you.
Going in. Oh, boy. But I was trying, but that's something else. Never again. When I heard 5 more minutes, I could have been gone. It only took 5 more minutes. Yeah. He said it probably would have spread it all over my body.
Yep.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So
when
again,
I heard that,
purpose.
I never heard that before.
Oh yeah. I got lucky too, man. And it's the pride will get you. You're not speaking up. Pride that's a tough one. Right. Yeah. As alpha men, it's tough. But yeah, that'll get you. So, well, that's cool, man. Well, look, guys, I know it's already been like 40 minutes, and that's just killing some time. I appreciate you. We're gonna be hopping on throughout the course of the month, and if you ever want to jump on, you got something to talk about. I got an open platform. I got a ton of people, and we got some cool stuff going on over here, and I'm happy to help. And I wish you boys the best of luck. I know some of you are out of the game, and some of you are just coming up, so I'm gonna be cheering hard for you on our side of things, and I appreciate the support with Ronnie and what we got going on here too.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Sorry, man. This is only supposed to last 20 minutes, but
that's how we roll. That's how we roll.
Not paying attention to no time.
That's all right.
Nope,
Yeah,
it's all good.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate you. Thanks again, and get some rest and keep killing it. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.